Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Today's podcast is sponsored by SLI Systems, providers of intelligent site search and navigation solutions. Learn more at sli-systems.com and listen to their interviews at ecommercepodcast.com.
Your path to e-commerce success starts right here. You're listening to Practical E-commerce, the podcast for e-commerce results.
Welcome to another edition of Practical E-commerce Podcast. I'm Mitch Bettis, the contributing editor for the magazine. Today, Stefan Spencer leads a discussion with Jonathan Hochman on the value of Wikipedia and how participating in Wikipedia can be a benefit to an e-commerce owner's individual website. For those who may not know, Stefan is the founder and president of Net Concepts, a web agency that specializes in search engine optimization. He's a senior contributor for Practical E-commerce. He writes the very popular SEO report card and also writes on other matters related to SEO. He is interviewing Mr. Hochman, who's also an SEO specialist and who is a contributor to Wikipedia. And the two have an interesting discussion about some powerful ways individuals can use Wikipedia, and they go into some pretty good detail on really understanding the purpose of Wikipedia and ways that that site should and should not be used to build traffic to an individual site. They have a pretty robust discussion on link spam, as well as a discussion on how approaching participation in Wikipedia should differ in concept compared to how one may think about using search engines, for instance, to build traffic. So it's a great discussion. I think you're going to enjoy it. And in addition, we're doing something a little different on this podcast. It's a little bit longer than what we normally do. There are thousands of you who download podcasts from Practical E-commerce each month, and so I'm interested hearing your feedback to see if you like this extended format, if you find it beneficial. So please drop us a line at info@practicalecommerce.com. Let us know what you think about the longer podcast format. I'll turn it over to Stefan, interviewing Jonathan Hochman on the value of Wikipedia.
A bit about your history in Wikipedia, when you got started, what your motivation for contributing to Wikipedia was, and some of the things you've gotten out of contributing.
Well, I think like many people in the SEO world, I first became aware of Wikipedia sort of as a free-for-all source of links. And it seems that a lot of people come into Wikipedia and the first thing they do is say, you know, this is great. I can go in here, I can edit, and I can put in links, I can write about myself, I can write about my company or my clients, and isn't that just wonderful? Well, quickly, if you start doing that, you learn that that's not the right thing to do. And in fact, there are many more powerful ways to use Wikipedia. So I started relatively recently. I wasn't one of the early people on the project. So I started doing just a few edits in 2005, and since then it's grown. I think I have about 1,000 to 1,200 edits in total. I'm not really a huge Wikipedia user relative to some other people. Many admins have a couple thousand or 5,000 edits. The thing that I find most interesting about Wikipedia is that it's a very good place to start searching. You have a client that comes in and they sell a product that you haven't dealt with before, and you need to rapidly understand what is this product, what is it about, where are the sources of information about this product. So you can go into Wikipedia and you can quickly survey the market and learn about the space that you're dealing with. And you can get some references, and often the references you find in Wikipedia are to very authoritative sites. So right away, Wikipedia is providing a roadmap that points you to authoritative sites about your topic. It can also point you to related articles that may show you some interesting keywords or subjects that are closely related to your topic, things that you hadn't thought about. So one of the first real values that I got out of Wikipedia was just being able to use it to do research. Now, once you're in there and you start reading articles, you start noticing, after you've worked in a particular field for a while, you start noticing mistakes in the articles. So, the edit button is right there, and you push the button and you fix it. You might know of a better reference. You might know of a news article, some other fact. The basic rule with Wikipedia is that any information that gets put in needs to be supported by a reliable source. You have to put in a reference to the source, because Wikipedia is not a place to publish original thought. It is a place to aggregate facts that are published elsewhere. Other people have judged the facts to be reliable, and the Wikipedia editor simply gathers them and assembles them into a rational article. So I started editing a little bit, and it becomes very infectious. It's a good hobby. It's interesting. I've worked on a lot of articles that have nothing to do with work at all. They're just fun to edit, fun to read. As I got into it more and more, I started to learn some things about how the community works. I saw other people who were usually newbies coming in and dropping their link spam. And it sort of gets irritating when you're reading an article and someone's thrown in their clever link spam. You just delete it. I eventually came to the Wiki Project Spam, which is a group of Wikipedians who are on the lookout for spam and guarding various articles that are frequently spammed. One thing that everyone should do is, if you have a website and you're working in a particular field, you should watch the pages in Wikipedia related to that field. If you see your competitors or other people or anyone going into those articles dropping link spam, degrading the quality of the article, it's probably in your interest to delete that link spam, to keep those pages clean, not to let someone else get an unfair advantage. Even though Wikipedia as of the 21st of January has put in the no-follow tag, I still think that Wikipedia links have value because there are real users who are in Wikipedia, especially journalists or other experts, and there's a really big amplification effect. If you can put some information in Wikipedia, or if there's a link in Wikipedia, lots and lots of people are going to notice it. They're going to follow that link. They're going to repeat what's said in Wikipedia. So it's really very powerful media. It's very powerful social media, and really, I don't even think about Wikipedia in terms of link popularity. I don't care that there's a no-follow tag. It doesn't matter to me. Another thing is that Google may conceptually ignore that no-follow tag. Just because Google promulgated the REL no-follow, they set that standard effectively. They're free to ignore it. If Wikipedia's change is causing some sort of deterioration in Google search results, I believe that Google has the right and should just simply disregard those no-follows within Wikipedia and use those links if they think that they are helpful to improving search results. Additional values that I've learned from Wikipedia. When you are selling a product, you may dominate certain keywords. You may have a product and you may be very good at virtualized software development. That's what you sell. It may be the case that people who need virtualized software development don't know to ask for it by name. And Google is a great place, and search engines in general are a great place to go if you know what you're looking for and don't know where to find it. Wikipedia is kind of the opposite. It's a great place to go if you're not exactly sure what you're looking for and want to figure out what it is that you should search for. So someone may go into the Wikipedia page on software testing, which is a very broad subject, and someone doing virtualized software development probably isn't likely to rank for software testing because it's a tremendously complicated set of keywords, competitive set of keywords. Nevertheless, you can go into the software testing Wikipedia page and edit and improve that page. And of course, virtualized software development is an important trend, and it definitely should be mentioned in that page. And maybe it's only, maybe that article is a stub and you can expand it, or maybe you can make it more accurate, or maybe you can cite some reliable sources and references and help educate the market about a topic that's very interesting to you. And by educating the market, you bring a very large group of people, perhaps one or two steps closer to a position where you are able to introduce them to your ideas. So I think that Wikipedia's use is very substantial in terms of public relations and developing a market.
So what you're saying is if somebody doesn't know to search on virtualized software development but is a potential prospect for you, does a search for software testing instead, it's likely that they'll find the Wikipedia page and the first page in the SERPs, end up on that software testing Wikipedia entry, see that there's a mention of virtualized software development, they realize that's really what interests me, or that's what I'm really looking for, and they might then end up doing a search for that keyword phrase that they weren't thinking about 5 minutes ago, but then that particular vendor who's trying to get visibility to these people who are searching for software testing, not realizing that they should be searching for virtualized software development. It's almost like they're educating or helping to educate these people to then start searching on virtualized software development. Is that right? And they contribute to the software testing page, add content about virtualized software development, and then expand the virtualized software development stub to make it a full-blown article that's quite comprehensive.
Well, that's exactly right. And Wikipedia has some guidelines. One of the guidelines is that people shouldn't have a conflict of interest, that you really shouldn't write about yourself, you shouldn't write about your company, you should write about things that you have no connection. As a practical matter, I think that's a little bit of a naive view. Most of the people who are in Wikipedia are tending to write about things that matter to themselves. If you're very interested in Judaism, you will go in and work on that article or articles within that category. If you're interested in software testing, you're going to go write about that subject. If you like astronomy, you're going to go write about astronomy. And, I'm in search engine optimization. I'm in internet marketing. And this really interests me. So, of course, I'm reading these articles, and I'm looking at them and saying, this article isn't very good. I want to fix it. Because, for me in my career and the community of people I work with, we really hate it when there's disinformation. When the public is ill-informed about what search engine optimization is, it makes our sales job much harder. By working on that article, we can educate a lot of people all at once and make it easier to go out and do business because in the end of the day, sales, I hate that cliche. The bottom line is that sales is about informing people. And when they become informed enough, they will sell to themselves. So Wikipedia is a tremendous tool for informing large numbers of people. When people are confused and don't know where to go, they often will do a Google search, look for a Wikipedia page, and hit that Wikipedia page, and then surf internally through the wiki links to find the material that they're really interested in. And it's a completely different paradigm than the search engine paradigm, and it's great. If you look at the traffic ratings for Wikipedia and Google, you can see that Wikipedia is growing very rapidly and sort of closing the gap on Google. So this is a very high growth website, and it's a very interesting paradigm, and that's why you see so many articles about Wikipedia now, and you see people really getting charged up about it. When Wikipedia does something, there's a very strong reaction. Even though you find many people saying, Wikipedia, it's a piece of garbage, a printed encyclopedia is much more reliable. Well, there have been some scholarly studies that show that's not true. And if Wikipedia was a piece of garbage, why are people getting so excited about it all the time? And we keep seeing it pop up on ThreadWatch and Search Engine Land. Obviously people see this rising phenomena and are very interested in it.
Great. Well, it's certainly a force to be reckoned with. Well, tell me, you mentioned link spam a few minutes ago, and talking about how the community works. What is some of the most clever link spam that you've come across, and what are some of the approaches that clever link spammers are taking that may or may not be working?
Well, when I say clever, maybe that's a little sarcastic, but there are lots of different ways to do spam in Wikipedia. People will go and do drive-by link drops. If there's a list of external links, they'll just come in and add their own link to that list. Generally, when I see a list of external links, if it's not organized and if it's a lot of spam, I just delete the whole thing. And there are other Wikipedia editors who will do that too. We see people coining phrases. Someone will have a phrase on their website, and no one else is really using that phrase, and they'll go in and create an article about that topic. Well, that's a non-notable topic, and probably that article is going to get deleted. We see people create articles about themselves or about their companies. They have no notability at all. Those articles can persist for a long time in the dark corners of Wikipedia, because if an article doesn't have a lot of links into it, nobody sees it, so nobody bothers to delete it. So link spam is sort of a little bit of a catch-22. You can sort of get away with link spam in Wikipedia as long as that link spam isn't working, but as soon as the links start to get noticed and they actually start to throw traffic in your direction, you have a lot of people looking at it, very quickly someone is going to come across that and say, whoa, this is spam, and they're going to delete it. And not only are they going to delete that link, they're going to go find out who put the link in there, and they're going to tag that person with a spam warning. And Wikipedia is very much a social media, and your ability as an editor to work on articles depends on your good reputation. You really want to stick to, neutral point of view, reliable sources, write about notable things, don't add spam. If you have a good reputation as a Wikipedia editor, you can use this, and you can accomplish a lot of your objectives while also advancing Wikipedia's objectives. If you do disruptive things, the community will close in on you, and you'll get tagged, and then your identity, you basically have to shut down your identity and start with a new identity. And again, new identity, you have no reputation. People are going to, if I see an anonymous editor who's made an edit to an article that I'm watching, I will generally look at that edit and say, what did this person do? If I see an edit that's done by someone whose user ID I recognize, because they are frequently editing in the articles in a certain topic area, I'm much less likely to go review what that person's done, because I understand this person has a good reputation. They're okay, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, most of the time. So, that's sort of the issue of link spam.
Right. So reputation is critically important on Wikipedia. Without it, it's much more likely that other editors or contributors or admins will delete your contributions.
Yes. Especially if you're going to go into a high-profile article, like, there's a Wikipedia page on the telephone. If you want to go in and edit and work on that article, you have to have a good reputation, or you're very likely to get your edit reverted. Or if you don't have any reputation, you could still work on it, but you better have a really strong source to support what you're saying. If you're going to go in and add some material, you better have references that are good, strong references that definitely aren't spammy. Otherwise, people are going to look at you and they're going to say, you have no reputation, you're citing an unknown source, you're putting in some sort of fact that we don't know whether this is true or not. You know what, let's take it out.
So tell me, as part of building your reputation, how important is your user page and how important is your talk page?
Well, I think the user page isn't particularly important. I don't have a lot on my user page. I just put a few articles I worked on and some links to places that are interesting for me to go to. I think mainly people are looking at the quality of your edits, and they see you make an edit and you develop a reputation. People can very quickly get a list of all your recent contributions, and they can see what are you working on, what sort of edits you're making. Are you adding content to articles, or are you simply running around dropping links? Talk pages. Your user talk page is just a place where people can leave you a message and you can respond to them. To improve your reputation, you want to be civil to people. If you disagree with what someone's doing, you always have to speak from your own point of view and say, well, I think the article should be different because. You don't want to go in and say, you're wrong because. You definitely don't want to insult other users or be combative. Civility is one of the founding principles of Wikipedia, and it's actually a wonderful thing when you start working with people. Maybe you don't agree with them, but by being civil, you can very often come to a common understanding and compromise on wording within the article that makes sense to everyone. I have a good example of this. I actually wrote the article for Doug Heil, the first revision. Doug is a controversial figure, and there are people who support him. There are people who don't support him, and the article is very carefully worded and precise, and Doug himself said that he likes the article. And people who maybe don't like Doug so much, they also like the article. That's the result of a really good neutral point of view article. When all sides are presented fairly, everyone can be happy.
So what if there are things on your talk page that you don't like? Somebody was caustic with you, or there's just a whole thread of discussion that doesn't put you in the best light. Can you delete things that are on your talk page and they disappear forever, or do they end coming back? How does that work?
Well, nothing in Wikipedia disappears forever because the changes are stored in the history. So if someone leaves nasty comments on your talk page, the best thing to do is to answer with a civil reply and say, wow, I think you're really upset, and maybe we should discuss this, and maybe we can clear this up if it's a misunderstanding, or, I'm sorry you feel that way. You try to diffuse the situation with civility. You can tell someone, hey, I see that you're really upset. Why don't you, go get a breath of fresh air and come back and we'll discuss this. I generally don't delete stuff from my talk page. I really don't care. If someone says nasty things about me, that reflects badly on them. It doesn't reflect badly on me. And, I just archive the stuff, after a while, just so that the page doesn't get to be too long. And but, of course, users are free to delete things off their talk page if they want to. I've deleted things off my talk page, I think. Your user page and your talk page are just there for your own convenience and so other people can communicate with you.
So where do sister sites to Wikipedia like Wikinews and Wikitravel fit in for you, or in your estimation?
I don't do an awful lot with the sister sites just because I spend most of my time in Wikipedia. I do read Wikinews every now and then, and it's interesting. They work kind of on the same principles as Wikipedia. It's the same software, and they each just have their own community. I think Wikinews is interesting. Certainly, there's lots of room for people to go in and, if you want to participate in Wikinews, that's a great idea. I also wanted to add one other comment about Wikipedia, which is that it is a social media. By participating, you can meet other people who are going to be valuable connections for you, and you can also improve your professional reputation outside of Wikipedia.
So what would be some examples of that?
Well, in my own case, I started working on the search engine optimization article, and I didn't do it in order to gain notability. I simply did it because I was interested in doing it. I saw the article was not very well written and needed a lot of help. People were complaining about it, and I said, well, no one really has a right to complain about Wikipedia because whoever's complaining can just go in there and fix it. So I started working on it, and as a result of working on this article, I've gotten to meet a variety of people that I probably wouldn't have had any reason to meet otherwise. And, I can walk up to Bruce Clay and say, hi, Bruce, I'm working on your Wikipedia page. I'd like to get a picture of you to put into the article. He's very happy and says hello, and, it's just it's a good icebreaker.
Instead of drink bait, it's wiki bait.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. It's a good way to walk up to anyone you want and who's noteworthy and strike up a conversation with them. People generally appreciate the attention. Everyone who's in there who gets a page because they're noteworthy is a little bit flattered because they've worked very hard. People enjoy a little bit of recognition and publicity.
But what if somebody added themselves to Wikipedia? For example, there was some controversy recently about Barry Schwartz and his entry because he actually was the one who initiated it.
Yeah, that was an interesting experiment. Now, he actually is notable, and there was a huge debate about this, but he is notable, and the article was, the decision was made to keep the article after much discussion. It is a discussion, it's not a vote. And he made a mistake by creating the article. It would have been better not to create the article, to let someone else create it, because it's very hard to write about yourself objectively. And the way he wrote it wasn't appropriate for Wikipedia, probably because he's not really all that experienced in Wikipedia. One of the good things that I did when I started is my wife has a great uncle who won a Congressional Medal of Honor. So sort of as a little present for her, I went and I gathered some news clippings about him, and I went and created a Wikipedia page for him. And there are a bunch of Medal of Honor recipients who don't have Wikipedia pages yet. They all deserve them. They don't have them. So people are sort of, working on them one by one. So I went in and started working on this article, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was obvious that I was writing about someone who should have a page, and I was trying my best, and other Wikipedians were coming in and helping me and giving me pointers, and I learned a lot in a very sort of a low-risk way. If you're new to Wikipedia, don't charge in and start editing a high-profile article unless you can, but But if you do, you're much more likely to sort of draw flack than if you go to more of a low-profile article and make sure it's something that you're not connected with in any way commercially, and work on it and learn the ropes, learn how the community works, learn what's expected. People will be sort of much more keen to help and support you in that way.
That's
and
great
if
advice.
Barry had gone in and started working on the article on chipmunks, he probably would have learned a lot about how it works, and then he would be in a much better position. I think it's not a good idea to start an article about yourself. It is a good idea if someone else has started an article about you to go over there, and you can certainly correct things that are factually inaccurate, or if you know about references, you can add them or correct them. And it's probably not a bad idea to go over to the talk page and say, "Hi, I'm Barry Schwartz, and I see you're writing an article about me. If you have any, if there's anything I can do to help, feel free to contact me." And likewise for a company, if you're a company, you definitely want to monitor your Wikipedia page, and probably not a bad idea to just say, "Here I am," and editors, if you're looking for information on the company, if I can point you to any references or help you with anything that you need, here I am. If you have any questions, you can sort of post whatever you want on the talk page. There's nothing wrong with going there and opening a line of communication.
So tell me a bit about the "Don't be a dick" policy.
I like that policy. People do say sometimes to each other, "Don't be a dick," but it's sort of like being a dick to say it that way, because it's really not very very civil. And this is an essay, not a policy or guideline. Anyone can write an essay. Anyone can start a Wikipedia essay. Right, this is the fundamental rule of all social spaces. You have to get along with other people, otherwise you're going to be ostracized. I like this quote. "If you've been labeled as a dick, especially if you have been told this by several people in a particular community, it might be wise to consider the possibility that it is true. Honestly examine your motivations. Are you here to contribute and make the project good, or is your goal really to find fault, get your views across, or be the one in control? Perhaps secretly inside you enjoy the thrill of a little confrontation." Right? So this is all good. You don't say to someone, "Don't be a dick." Don't be dense. That's sort of a nice way of putting it.
The euphemism.
Yeah, as euphemism for "don't be a dick." But definitely, if you're in Wikipedia making edits and people are giving you spam warnings and people are telling you that you're not doing the right thing, and it's coming from different people, that should set off the little warning bell that says, am I being a dick? Maybe I shouldn't be a dick. And Wikipedia works best if people self-moderate.
Mm-hmm. And part of the learning experience is actually to reach out to other Wikipedia members and ask them for clarification, ask them for the right approach to doing something, correct?
Yeah, one thing that I've done is there's a page called Editor Review. I put myself on Editor Review, so I'm asking other Wikipedians to come in and comment on the edits I'm doing and how I'm doing as far as communicating with other people. And I've gotten some good feedback, and I think it's not at all a bad idea to ask people, how am I doing?
Now, what about the Village Pump? Is that someplace that you participate on?
I actually don't comment a whole lot on the Village Pump. I go in and peek in there every now and then. I'm kind of much more excited about the external links and the reliable sources articles, the guidelines. Well, the Village Pump is a bunch of sort of general issues, and every Wikipedian is different. Some people are very general. They like to look at lots of different areas. Others are more sort of subject matter oriented. I personally am a little bit more subject matter oriented. I'm very oriented towards the search engine optimization, internet marketing, and related policy.
Have you ever had a entry that you created, voted for, or AFD put in for, or actually had it deleted?
I've had a number of articles get AFD'd. None of them have been deleted. A few of them were merged because they were like subsidiary companies, so they decided to just merge it under the holding company's article. But I haven't had an article get deleted, because what happens is if someone were to nominate an article that I have started for deletion, if I'm watching it, I see that, I go in and say, okay, what's the problem? And someone will say, well, this is the problem with the article. And I say, okay, very good. And then I do my best to try to fix the article and say, you're right, that is a problem. A really good rule when someone starts trying to delete something is try to understand what their objection is and try to fix the objection. And if for some reason you can't fix the objection, say so. Say, look, I see that you're right. This article probably should be deleted. Okay, let's delete it. And if you behave in that way, then you're not being a dick, and you're you're going to improve your reputation. Even if your article does get deleted, at least you've been cooperative and maybe you've learned something.
How do you make sure that you're watching or monitoring these things in case somebody makes a reversion or an AFD on something that you've been working on? And secondly, what if you weren't watching it and the deletion occurs? What's your recourse?
You can ask to have an AFD debate reviewed. You can always restart an article. Probably if an article gets deleted, it's probably because it should have been deleted, and maybe you just have to take a different approach or go work on something else. One thing that you really want to do is you don't want to start and own an article. What you want to do if you start an article is you want to get other people interested in that article and get them to start editing it and make sure that there are lots of people watching it. I've started articles, and I'm very happy when I'm watching them and I see someone's put in spam and then some other Wikipedian comes along and removes the spam. It's often a good strategy to kind of sit back and let other people do the work, because the true success in the social media is when you get your idea to spread virally. So you want other people to get involved in the articles you start. You don't want to, put up a fence and say, this is my article, don't touch it, it's mine. You definitely want to use the watch list to monitor what's going on and step forward and clear some of the spam or other problems that people might introduce into articles. But you don't want to be overly possessive either. So when I work on an article, if I want to watch it, I hit the watch tab, and the article's put on my watch list. And whenever I log into Wikipedia, I go to my watch list, and usually I log in every few days, and because I'm interested in what's going on there.
Can you get the things that you're watching, the alerts sent to you via RSS or email?
That's a good question, and I haven't tried doing it, and we should be able to figure that out just by looking at it. Well, people have done it. Here's a good Dig article which says that it seems that people have written them. People are talking about it. It doesn't seem to have been implemented yet. I mean, there's no RSS button on my watch list. There should be. It would be a good thing to have. Maybe though they don't have that specifically because they don't want people trying to own articles. You don't want someone just camping on the article, watching it so closely that no one else can edit it. That's not really helpful.
I see that there are meetups in different cities for Wikipedians. Have you attended any of those?
I actually haven't, and I would like to. I just haven't had the occasion to go. Yeah.
Well, great. This was fantastic.
One thing I wanted to add, just one final thought. If you want to get other people involved in your article, one of the best ways to do it is to look at the appropriate categories on your article. I often find articles that don't have good categories on them. When you put a category tag on an article, that article then appears in the category, and people who are working in the category will come in and look at your article and help you improve it. So that's a very good way to get more exposure, more links into your article.
Now, you had mentioned a while ago in our conversation specifically about the Net Concepts entry that you had a look at, that it was on its way to clearing the notability hurdles. What were you going to say about that? You, I think, had some advice for me.
Oh, sure. Well, one thing I noticed is that this thing showed up in the search engine optimization category. That's a very sort of kind of a high-profile category, so it is likely to attract a lot of attention. Like, in this category, we have PubCon, we have search engine strategies, we have a bunch of topical things, we have Mac cuts. There's a subcategory, search engine optimization consultants. I'm not sure. Net Concepts might be more appropriate in the consultants category. The article itself, right away when I see a corporate article, that sort of sets off my question: is this advertising? Now, there's information in the article, and it's well founded. I mean, there's a reference literally on every sentence. We have one reference back to the company's website, which doesn't really count for much. Really, what we're looking for, what we want references that have some sort of editorial control and some fact-checking. Net Concepts to run site for U.S. taxidermy firm, New Zealand Herald. The reason we want references to things that have editorial control and fact-checking and independence from the source, from the subject of the article, is that we need to have this sort of neutrality. Let's see, this New Zealand Herald article. Let me ask you a question. Is this just a reprint of a corporate press release, or is this something that someone, a reporter, created themselves?
Yeah, they created it themselves. They actually interviewed me.
Okay, well that's good because it means that they're independent sources of information. You can't write an article about somebody or something. Let me ask you a few questions. Some things that you could do to bolster this article. Have you published any book?
I've published an e-book for marketing profs. Very much a mini book, but it's on Google. power searching with Google. It's called Unlocking the Power of Google for Marketing Research.
One thing I would warn you about this page is that Mike Grehan had his page deleted. Someone created a page about him. It got put up for AFD. I kind of jumped into the discussion and tried to defend it. The problem we had is that we didn't have a lot of good references. Mike has been written up in the press, and I said, Mike, where have you been written up in the press? And he didn't have really good records of all the press appearances, of all the news appearances. And without those things referring, when did the Wall Street Journal write about you? If we can't document it, we can't sustain notability.
But a lot of times those things are actually locked up in the archives, and you have to pay for access to the article.
That's okay. If we can, even if, let's say you get a Wall Street Journal print and you see a story and you read it, you can cite that in Wikipedia. These sources don't have to be online. You can cite paper sources. As long as you can give a date and the name of the article, that's enough for someone to be able to go back and check your facts. I can certainly cite an article from the New York Times that was printed, 35 years ago, and it's not online anywhere that you can get it for free. One thing that's a really good advice for any company doing public relations is to have a news appearances page on your website, and anytime you appear in the news, document it with a link or with a blurb and the date and the article title and the publication. That's really very beneficial for any PR campaign, and it helps in Wikipedia too. Mike had a book, and it was an ebook, and I said, okay, do we have an ISBN number? No, we don't have an ISBN number. Well, anyone can publish an ebook. It hasn't been checked. If you're publishing through a publisher, someone independent has to sort of be putting their seal of approval on it. Wikipedia is not the place to publish original thought. It's a place to consolidate things that have already been published elsewhere. So this article, if someone comes in and takes a close look at it, there's a chance that someone could AFD it and they might be successful. At least it's written with a nice neutral tone. It's not really touting the company or saying how wonderful the company is. Let me show you an example. There's something interesting you should see. Go to the Wikipedia page for Duke Energy. See this article, the first section in there, environmental litigation? These guys have a Wikipedia page about themselves, but I'm not so sure that this Wikipedia page is helping them, in a huge way, because this is a place for people to put negative information. They got in trouble with the Clean Air Act, and they were taken to court, and they went up to the Supreme Court. So having a Wikipedia page is a double-edged sword. I have another really good example of this, a better example. You go to Vonage, key people, Jeffrey A. Citron. So let's go look at his Wikipedia page. Jeffrey A. Citron is the chairman of Vonage, a voice-over IP phone company. He was previously affiliated with Daytech Securities and was a defendant in a civil enforcement action for securities fraud by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Citron paid approximately $22.5 million of a $70 million settlement to be paid by all the defendants. And the SEC said these fines were among the largest penalty amounts the SEC has ever obtained from individuals. So noteworthy doesn't necessarily mean good. It can also mean infamous. And getting into Wikipedia, it can be positive. It also can be negative. Stepping onto the public stage, and people may cheer you or they may throw tomatoes.
That's it for another edition of Practical E-Commerce Podcast. We appreciate Stefan Spencer leading that discussion on Wikipedia. We are interested in your comments on this extended format of a podcast. Whether you like the longer length or not, please let us know at info@practicalecommerce.com. Drop us a line, let us know what you thought about this podcast or any others that you may have down